First Contact Protocol. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the International Space Station Harmony, her dark eyes fixed on the approaching vessel. Its crystalline surface refracted starlight in ways that defied human engineering, creating patterns that seemed to pulse with their own consciousness. After 15 years of deep space surveillance, she had never seen anything like it. Final approach vector confirmed, the station's AI announced. Unknown vessel maintaining steady deceleration. Time to dock. 7 minutes. Sarah straightened her uniform, feeling the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. As Earth's foremost expert in theoretical xenodiplomacy, she had spent her career preparing for this moment. Now that it was actually happening, all her simulations and protocols felt woefully inadequate. Commander, her second-in-command, Dr. James Rivera, appeared at her side. The Security Council is demanding updates. They're concerned about your decision to allow the docking. The vessel could have destroyed us 1,000 times over by now, if that was their intention. Sarah replied, not taking her eyes off the approaching ship. They specifically requested diplomatic contact. We need to show trust if we expect to receive it. The alien vessel was closer now, its surface shifting like liquid mercury. As it aligned with the station's experimental first contact dock, Sarah could make out what appeared to be script or symbols etched into its hull, rearranging themselves in hypnotic patterns. All departments report ready. The AI updated. Medical containment protocols active. Translation matrices online. Sarah took a deep breath. Open a channel. A holographic interface materialized before her, showing only waves of color that seemed to respond to sound. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the International Space Station Harmony. We welcome you in peace. The colors shifted, coalescing into a roughly humanoid shape composed of swirling iridescent particles. When it spoke, its voice was like wind through crystal, somehow both alien and beautiful. I am Khazar, representative of the Viridian Collective. We have been watching your species for some time, Commander Chen. The moment of choice has arrived. Sarah's diplomatic training kicked in. We are honored by your presence, Representative Khazar. What choice do you refer to? The holographic figure's particles swirled more intensely. Your species stands at a crossroads. Your technological advancement has outpaced your spiritual evolution. This creates instability in the cosmic framework. I'm not sure I understand, Sarah said carefully, aware that every word was being recorded and analyzed by experts worldwide. You will. But first, you must know this. This is your only chance, human. Act now, or regret forever. Khazar's form expanded, filling the holographic space with swirling patterns. We offer you an opportunity to prove your species' worth, to demonstrate that humanity deserves a place among the starfaring civilizations. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. And if we decline this opportunity, then you will be contained. Your world will be placed under quarantine until your species either evolves or extincts itself. We cannot risk your unchecked expansion into the cosmos. Dr. Rivera stepped forward. That's a threat. No, Khazar's form rippled. It is a reality. Your species possesses remarkable potential, but also remarkable capacity for destruction. We have seen it before. Countless civilizations have burned themselves out, taking entire sectors of space with them. Sarah raised her hand, silencing Rivera's protest. What exactly does this opportunity entail? A series of trials, tests of not just your technology or intelligence, but of your wisdom, empathy, and ability to transcend your biological imperatives. You, Commander Chen, will represent your species. Why me? Your mind pattern is compatible. You understand the delicate balance between progress and preservation. Your species needs this quality to survive what comes next. Sarah's mind raced through the implications. This wasn't just first contact. It was humanity's evaluation. Everything they had built, everything they could become, hanging in the balance. The trials will be dangerous, Khazar continued. You may not survive, But your success or failure will determine your species' fate. That's an impossible choice, Rivera protested. One person can't possibly. I accept, Sarah interrupted, her voice steady despite her pounding heart. Kazar's form seemed to smile, though it had no discernible face. Step aboard my vessel, Commander Chen. Leave everything behind. What you need will be provided. Commander, please, Rivera grabbed her arm. The protocols. The protocols were written for a situation we could predict. Sarah gently removed his hand. This is beyond anything we prepared for. Sometimes you have to trust your instincts. She turned to the hologram. I have conditions. Earth receives regular updates on my status. Any technology or knowledge I gain is shared with my species, regardless of the outcome. And I want you, Kazar, as my direct liaison. No intermediaries. The alien's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. Negotiating already. Perhaps there is hope for your kind. The hologram expanded, enveloping Sarah in a spiral of light. Your terms are accepted. Prepare yourself, Commander Chen. The first trial begins now. As the light intensified around her, Sarah caught a final glimpse of Rivera's worried face. Then reality shifted, and she felt herself being drawn into the unknown. The fate of humanity resting on what she would do next. The last thing she heard was Kazar's crystalline voice. Remember, Commander, this is your only chance. Act now, or regret forever. The trial of humanity. The transition felt like being turned inside out, while remaining perfectly still. When Sarah's vision cleared, she found herself in a chamber that defied Euclidean geometry. Surfaces curved in impossible ways, and light seemed to originate from everywhere and nowhere at once. Kazar materialized beside her, their crystalline form now physically present rather than holographic. Up close, they resembled a humanoid sculpture made of shifting diamond dust, catching and refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. Your neural patterns are adapting well to our environment, Kazar observed, their voice resonating directly in Sarah's mind. Many species experience severe disorientation or madness upon first exposure. Sarah steadied herself against a wall that felt both solid and fluid. I'm assuming that was the first test. No, Kazar's form shimmered with what might have been amusement. That was merely transportation. The first trial begins now. The chamber dissolved around them, reforming into what appeared to be a vast arena. Floating platforms of various sizes hung in a void of swirling colors. On each platform, different scenes played out simultaneously. Wars, celebrations, scientific discoveries, environmental disasters. Your species is unique, Kazar explained, gesturing to the scenes. Most develop in a linear fashion. But humans, you exist in multiple stages simultaneously. Stone Age tribes share your world with quantum physicists. You create art of transcendent beauty while destroying ecosystems. You reach for the stars while clinging to ancient hatreds. Sarah watched as a platform nearby showed children playing in a park, while another displayed a military conflict. We're complex. That's not necessarily a weakness. No, Kazar agreed. But it is dangerous. The first trial is one of harmony. You must prove that humanity can balance its contradictions. The platforms began moving, some colliding and shattering into light, others merging to create new scenes. Sarah realized they were responding to her thoughts, her emotions. Guide them, Kazar instructed. Show us how humanity brings order to chaos. Sarah closed her eyes, remembering her training in meditation and chaos theory. The platform's movement was like a dance, she realized. Not about controlling them, but about finding the pattern within their chaos. She reached out mentally, not trying to stop the collisions but to guide them. Under her influence, the warring scenes began to transform. A battlefield merged with a classroom, becoming a center for conflict resolution. Environmental destruction flowed into scientific innovation, showing restoration and renewal. Interesting, Kazar observed. Most species attempt to eliminate their contradictions. You seek to transform them. Elimination isn't always the answer, Sarah replied, maintaining her focus. Sometimes the tension between opposites creates something new, something better. The platforms move faster now, their collisions creating more complex scenes. Sarah felt sweat beading on her forehead as she worked to maintain the delicate balance. One miscalculation could send the entire system into chaos. Your species fights itself constantly, Khazar noted. Yet you've chosen to show harmony through transformation rather than conquest. Why? Because that's who we are. Sarah managed through gritted teeth. We're not perfect. We struggle, we fail, we fight. But we also learn, adapt, grow. Our contradictions make us stronger. The platforms began to slow, their scenes merging into a single massive display. It showed Earth, but not as it was, as it could be. Clean cities nestled in restored wilderness. Advanced technology working in harmony with natural systems. Different cultures maintaining their uniqueness while sharing knowledge and resources. A beautiful vision, Khazar said. But is it realistic? It's possible, Sarah corrected, letting her hands fall to her sides as the platform stabilized. That's what matters. We may never achieve perfect harmony, but the attempt to balance our nature makes us who we are. The arena faded, returning them to the original chamber. Sarah felt exhausted but oddly energized, as if she'd touched something fundamental about her own species. You have completed the first trial, Khazar announced, though perhaps not in the way we expected. Did I pass? Pass. Khazar's form rippled. These trials are not about passing or failing, Commander. They are about understanding. You have shown us something unexpected about human potential. Sarah straightened, meeting Khazar's crystalline gaze. Then what comes next? Something far more challenging. The chamber began to shift again. The first trial tested your understanding of your species. The second will test your understanding of ours. Before Sarah could respond, reality warped around them once more. As the transformation began, she caught a glimpse of something in Khazar's crystalline structure, a pattern that seemed almost familiar. Then everything changed, and the second trial began. Understanding the other. The crystalline world of the Viridians materialized around Sarah like a dream taking solid form. She stood in what appeared to be a vast library, but instead of books, streams of living light flowed through transparent columns that stretched infinitely upward. Each stream contained memories, knowledge, and experiences of the Viridian civilization. Welcome to the collective memory, Khazar said, their form shifting to match the surrounding architecture. Your second trial requires you to understand us, truly understand us, as we have studied you. Sarah reached out to touch one of the light streams, and images flooded her mind. Civilizations rising and falling across millennia, species evolving and going extinct, the cold mathematics of survival playing out across galaxies. Your people, she breathed, withdrawing her hand. You're not just observers, you're guardians. We guide the development of young species, Khazar confirmed. Those with potential must be nurtured. Those who pose a threat must be contained. We have done this since before your planet cooled from its molten state. The surrounding streams shifted, showing Sarah glimpses of other worlds, other species that had faced similar trials. Many had failed. Some had destroyed themselves. A few had transcended, becoming something greater. The trial is simple, Khazar continued. You must locate a specific memory within the collective, one that will help you understand why we test species as we do. But be warned, the wrong choice could destroy your mind. Human consciousness was not designed to process Viridian memories. Sarah studied the endless streams of light. How will I know which memory to choose? You won't. That is part of the test. Choose carefully, Commander. Some memories contain truths that can shatter more than just minds. Sarah began moving through the library, letting her intuition guide her. The streams reacted to her presence, offering glimpses of their contents. She saw magnificent achievements, the creation of stars, the seeding of life on barren worlds, the preservation of dying species. But she also saw terrible things. Planetary extinctions, civilizations quarantined and left to destroy themselves, the cold calculation of cosmic triage. Your civilization, she said, continuing to search, it carries an enormous burden. We bear it because we must, Khazar replied, following her. The cosmos is vast, but not infinite. Resources, even on a galactic scale, are limited. Choices must be made. Something caught Sarah's attention, a stream that seemed dimmer than the others, almost hesitant to be noticed. She moved closer, studying its pattern. This one, she said, it's different. Are you certain? There are trillions of memories to choose from. Why this? Sarah reached for the stream. Because it's trying to hide. The moment her fingers touched the light, everything changed. She was no longer herself. She was a young Khazar, experiencing their first trial as a guardian. The memory engulfed her completely. Khazar stood before a dying star, watching as a civilization on its third planet faced extinction. They had the power to save them, to move their entire world to safety. But the equations, the cold logic of cosmic balance, said this species must be allowed to perish. Their survival would drain resources needed for other, more promising civilizations. She felt Khazar's doubt, their pain at having to make such a choice. And then something remarkable happened. They defied the equations, found a way to save the civilization while maintaining cosmic balance. It wasn't perfect, wasn't clean, but it worked. The memory released her, and Sarah found herself back in the library, gasping. You! She turned to Khazar, seeing them in a new light. You were the first to suggest that the equations could be wrong, that sometimes intuition and compassion must balance cold logic. Khazar's form rippled with complex emotions. That memory was sealed for a reason, Commander. It represents a dangerous idea, that even fundamental cosmic laws can be questioned. But that's exactly why humanity deserves a chance. Sarah pressed. We question everything. We look for alternatives. We refuse to accept that there's only one way forward. And that is precisely what makes your species so dangerous, Khazar countered. Yet, also so intriguing. The library began to fade around them, but Sarah felt the weight of the revelation settling into her bones. She understood now. The Viridians weren't just testing humanity's worth. They were testing their own assumptions about what makes a species worthy. The third trial awaits, Khazar announced as reality began to shift again. You have seen our burden. Now you must share it. Sarah noticed that Khazar's crystalline form had changed subtly, taking on a warmer hue when they spoke to her. Something was changing between them, evolving beyond the simple relationship of tester and subject. As the world transformed around them once more, Sarah realized that each trial was revealing as much about the Viridians as it was about humanity, and perhaps that was the point. True understanding could never be one-sided. A shared crisis. The third trial never came. Instead, alarms pierced the crystalline chamber, their sound translating into pulses of red light that rippled through the structure. Khazar's form destabilized momentarily, their usual shimmer becoming erratic. Impossible, they whispered, their voice carrying genuine fear for the first time since Sarah had met them. The containment field is failing. What containment field? Sarah asked, but her question was answered by a violent tremor that shook the entire chamber. Through the transparent walls, she saw something that defied comprehension, a tear in space itself, leaking what looked like liquid darkness. The void plague, Khazar explained quickly, their form shifting to defensive configurations, a quantum virus that devours reality itself. We've kept it contained for millennia, but something is weakening the barriers. Another tremor rocked the chamber. Status displays materialized around them, showing the spread of the darkness across multiple dimensions. Sarah studied the patterns, her mind racing. These energy signatures, she pointed to a particular reading. They're similar to human quantum experiments, our attempts at faster-than-light travel. Yes, Khazar's voice was grim. Your species' experiments with quantum mechanics are creating resonances with the containment field. We didn't realize until it was almost too late. This is why some argued for immediate quarantine of your world. The irony wasn't lost on Sarah. Humanity's drive to reach the stars was inadvertently threatening the fabric of reality itself. But something else caught her attention, subtle patterns in the way the darkness moved. "It's not random," she said, stepping closer to the displays. "The void plague, it's behaving like a living system. Like a virus, yes, but one with intelligence." Khazar moved beside her, their crystalline form brushing against her arm. The contact sent tingles of alien energy through her nervous system, but it no longer felt uncomfortable. If anything, it helped her focus. "We've never considered it as a living system," Khazar admitted. "Our approach has always been containment through pure force. But if it's alive," Sarah's mind was racing now, "then it can be communicated with. Maybe even reasoned with. Or at least predicted," Khazar added, catching her train of thought. "If we understand its patterns as a living system rather than just a cosmic anomaly." They were interrupted by another violent shake. The darkness had spread further, beginning to eat away at the edges of the chamber. Sarah could feel its pull, not just physical, but mental. It wanted to consume everything, not out of malice, but out of a basic drive to expand and survive. "We need to combine our approaches," Sarah said firmly. "Viridian containment technology with human insight into living systems. But we have to act now." Khazar's form pulsed with decision. "The collective will not approve. Working directly with a trial species, sharing our technology, it violates every protocol." "Then break the protocols." Sarah met their crystalline gaze. "You've done it before. Sometimes the equations need to be questioned, remember?" For a moment, Khazar was silent. Then their form shifted, taking on a more focused configuration. "You're right. Besides, the protocols are meaningless if reality itself unravels." They turned to face her fully. "But you should understand. This changes everything. The trials, the evaluation of humanity. This is now something else entirely." "Good," Sarah smiled grimly. "We work better under real pressure anyway." They worked quickly, Khazar teaching Sarah the basics of Viridian quantum manipulation while she shared human theories about viral behavior and system adaptation. The darkness continued to spread, but now they could see patterns in its movement that had been invisible before. "It's beautiful, in a way," Sarah observed as they mapped the void plague's expansion. "It's not trying to destroy reality. It's trying to transform it into something it can inhabit. Much like humanity transforms every environment it encounters," Khazar noted, "but without judgment. Perhaps that's why your species is uniquely suited to help solve this crisis. You understand transformation better than we do." Sarah was about to respond when a new alarm sounded. The displays showed multiple breaches forming simultaneously. The void plague was learning, adapting to their containment efforts. "It's accelerating." Khazar's voice was urgent. "We need to implement a solution now, or we lose containment entirely." Sarah studied the data flowing around them, seeing how human and Viridian insights had merged to create something new. "I have an idea," she said slowly, "but you're not going to like it. At this point, Commander, I'm open to anything." Instead of trying to contain it, she turned to face Khazar. "We guide it. Create a controlled transformation instead of fighting against it. Give it somewhere to go that doesn't destroy everything in its path." Khazar's form flickered with surprise. "You're suggesting we cooperate with it? The thing that could unmake reality?" "Everything seeks to survive," Sarah pressed. "Even a quantum virus, if we give it a way to do that without destroying us." Another violent tremor cut her off. They were running out of time. Khazar's form shifted, taking on a determination she hadn't seen before. "Your species continues to surprise us," they said. "Very well. Show me how we do this." As they began implementing Sarah's plan, she realized that this crisis had accomplished what no trial could. It had forced both species to truly see each other as equals, each bringing something vital to the table. The future of reality itself now rested on their ability to work together. Evolution's choice. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as Sarah and Khazar initiated their desperate plan. The chamber had been transformed into a quantum control center, streams of data and energy flowing through them, both as they worked to guide, rather than contain the void plague. Creating quantum channels now, Khazar announced, their crystalline form resonating with power. But the plague is resistant. It senses our attempt to control it. Then stop trying to control it, Sarah replied, her hands dancing through holographic interfaces. Think of it like taming a wild animal. We're not its master. We're offering it a choice. The darkness swirled around them, testing their defenses. Sarah could feel its curiosity, its hunger, but also its fear. Through their combined understanding, she now saw it clearly, not as a mindless force of destruction, but as a being seeking its place in a universe that had no room for it. Remarkable, Khazar observed, watching as the void plague responded to Sarah's gentler approach. It's actually communicating with us. Sarah nodded, maintaining her focus. Every living thing wants to survive. We just need to show it how to do that without destroying everything else. She paused, a realization hitting her, just like humanity. The parallel wasn't lost on Khazar. Their form shifted, taking on a warmer hue as understanding dawned. Your species, we saw you as a potential plague ourselves, something to be contained or controlled. And instead you found partners. Sarah smiled, even as sweat beaded on her forehead from the strain of maintaining the quantum channels. Sometimes the most dangerous things just need to be understood. The void plague was responding to their guidance now, following the paths they created through quantum space. Instead of consuming reality, it was being woven into it, becoming part of the cosmic fabric rather than destroying it. It's working. Khazar's voice held amazement. The plague is stabilizing, but the energy requirements, we can't maintain this forever. Sarah studied the readings, seeing the strain on both their systems. We don't have to. Look, it's learning, adapting. Once it understands, there's a better way. She was cut off by a sudden surge of energy. The void plague had reached a critical point, and for a moment, everything hung in the balance. Sarah felt Khazar's energy intertwine with hers, supporting her as reality itself seemed to flex around them. Then, something extraordinary happened. The darkness began to change, not into destruction, but into something new. Where it touched the universe, it created patterns of unprecedented complexity, quantum structures that existed in harmony with normal space. It's not just surviving, Khazar whispered. It's evolving. And in doing so, it's showing us possibilities we never imagined. As the crisis subsided, Sarah and Khazar found themselves in a transformed chamber. The void plague had become part of the structure itself, its darkness now a shimmer of quantum potential that enhanced rather than destroyed. Your solution? Khazar turned to Sarah, their form rippling with emotion. It goes against everything we believed about cosmic threats. Yet it worked. You turned a force of destruction into a source of creation. That's what humans do, Sarah replied, exhausted but proud. We adapt, we transform, we find new ways forward. Sometimes the most dangerous things have the most potential if you're willing to take the risk of understanding them. Khazar was silent for a moment, their crystalline form processing this truth. The trials are over, they finally announced. Though not in any way we anticipated. Did humanity pass? Sarah asked, though she already suspected the answer had changed along with everything else. Pass. Khazar's form shimmered with what might have been laughter. Commander Chen, your species has done more than pass. You've shown us that our entire system of judgment needs to evolve. The question is no longer whether humanity deserves a place among the stars, but what we can achieve together. As if in response to these words, the chamber filled with new light, the combined glow of viridian crystal, void plague quantum patterns, and human innovation. It was beautiful in a way that none of them could have created alone. "So what happens now?" Sarah asked, looking out at the transformed space. "Now," Khazar moved closer, their energy harmonizing with hers in a way that felt natural. "We begin the real work. Humanity will join the collective, not as subjects, but as partners. There are more challenges out there, more crises that need both our perspectives." Sarah smiled, remembering Khazar's first words to her. "This is your only chance, human. Act now or regret forever." "We acted," she said, "and I don't regret a thing." "Neither do we," Khazar replied. "The cosmos is changing, Sarah Chen. And together, we will help guide that change." As they stood together, watching the dance of light and shadow that represented their new partnership, Sarah realized that this wasn't an ending, it was a beginning. Humanity had not just found its place among the stars, it had helped create a new way of existing within them. The future would hold more challenges, more transformations, more moments of choice, but they would face them together, proof that even the most different beings could find common ground in the vast expanse of space. After all, in an infinite universe, the possibilities for cooperation were endless.